Good morning. All right. Well, before we get started here, MT Live, we didn't have one for a couple of weeks, so we'll be back this Wednesday about trading the open and close. So it'll be another good one, not to miss. And I'll drop the link in a little while to register if you're not already, but if you're on the email list, you already got it. And there we go. Charts. Without the charts, we're out of business. All right. So breakouts. Not exactly what we'd call a breakout, but I started with this because it made such a large move. In a sense, it's a breakout. And one of the comments on Friday, which was ahead of Powell's comments, was like most of these patterns have either consolidated or pulled back their buy setups. And that led to a bias that they should go up, but you never know. You don't know what's going to come out of his mouth or what the news is going to be. It could have been a giant whipsaw. It jiggled around a little bit and went up, but at the end of the day, it was just a wide range bars galore everywhere. And that suggests higher prices. So the question, on the slide was, did the internals confirm? Now, we always say price is king, but if the internals were mediocre or they were already lined up at an extreme, this would be probably short lived. But, you know, we look at those internals. So one of them at the end of the day that we look at is the advancers minus decliners. This is something that we look at during the trading day for two reasons: to see what level it's at. So say it's a decent up day. Again, a price is king. Up day, it's trending higher. You don't go against that. But it's an internal measurement as to how many stocks are participating. So, an up day, and this is down around zero, and we've seen those are just marginally positive, but we've even seen, negative ones, which is, crazy. But it means that there's only a few stocks that are really lifting the market, and we've seen that a lot over the last few years. But at the end of the day, this was up above 2000. And those in the green room might remember uh, me mentioning, oh, maybe it was a week ago or so, there was an up day and it was still positive. It was pretty good. But at the end of the day, it wasn't like this. So this is absolutely a confirmation of the kind of thing that you'd want to see: broad market participation from, a pullback type of buy setup. We're going to look at a few others. So definitely a plus. And you can see the SPX here. It just came up to the prior high on a closing basis. It came up there. I think it inched above it. But again, this suggests it should go higher. So we're looking at the Russell here. It's down a little bit. Everything's down a little bit. And here is our void concept. So it just went straight up. Even if you look at a 5-minute chart, it just went ripped straight up. Um, and so now it's beginning to pull back. Where's it going to stop pulling back? Well, kind of hard to say when there's no support, but we look at things like minor support, what was resistance minor support. This is a general guideline. You could say, okay, well, we always say, a wide range bar should stay, the open and closing should be in the upper 50%. And if it's really strong, it's going to stay in the upper third. So as I move the cursor on the daily chart, you see how it lines up with this high there. So buy the dip, right? Buy the dip as it's pulling back. You look for stabilization. Now, there's no support, which brings us to the MTS concept of creating support. As this pulls back, whatever time frame you're going to use, you see if it pivots. And it was pivoting here, and now it's broke lower. So at what level are buyers going to want to step in? And we assume, based on our internals and the price action, buyers are going to want to step in. And I think it's obvious to fully everyone what happened on Friday, and the lean will be buy the dip, as long as the dip doesn't plummet way back down here, and it shouldn't, based on what I've already said. Now, as we look at the other internals, they're neutral, which is good. I use the analogy there's gas in the tank before they line up and would give us a signal of, hey, be careful here. Things are getting a little too extreme. Option traders are buying too many calls versus puts. And we know what happens historically when that happens. And breadth, when it gets to an extreme, it kind of flies in the face of, I guess, logic. If you say too many stocks going up, right? Isn't that a good thing? Well, yeah, until it reaches a historical extreme. And that's what we're looking for with the internals. Unless they're at an extreme, they really don't tell us very much. So we look around and then we see, which we should see, based on what I've already said, participation across many markets. So the futures had a good day. They did not take out the high. Uh, and we suspect that they should take out the high after some type of little consolidation. They should continue to move higher. And we look at others and NASDAQ. So this was underperforming or relative weakness. Many things, many of the tech stocks, some broke down, but many of them pulled back to their 50 MA and the support and had a good day. And a little backing and filling here. Everybody's waiting to hear NVIDIA's earnings, and there's other tech stocks coming out reporting earnings. I think it's on Thursday. So expectation, high expectations for NVIDIA. They're expected to beat, and we'll see if they do together. So this looks like a little consolidation. And as we pick different things to trade, right? Sectors, markets, stocks, multiple time frames, right? Big bar up, drifting down, look to the left, minor. We look for it to create, right? Factory work. And so this should be able to go higher as well. And so this, looking to the left, this would be a targeted area on a very short-term basis. Same thing, wash, repeat. The big news was the Dow finally, and these are the futures, but the Dow itself hit a new all-time high. So it finally joined the others. And for, I guess, a few weeks now, maybe a little longer, in the advisory letter, as we got some, positive price action, one of my comments was over this time was, hey, you know what? We want to see the Dow join the party. And that push up, and it didn't, and it would come back in, and look like it was going to go down and come back up again. And now we finally got a very bullish wide range bar up. So far, it's forming what looks to be what would be possibly a 1, 2, 3. And today would be a consolidation day, but of course, we're going to see how that shapes up. But firing on all cylinders. Now, Bitcoin, what's going on with that today? Is this going to be a breakdown failure, or is this an early heads up that something is starting to smell under the hood? And we like to see Bitcoin. I get participated on Friday. It's down here today, but everything's down. So using bar by bar analysis at the end of the day, I'd like to see this be a bottoming tail bar. Or if it does break down, it flips back up the next day. But we'll see. Right now, it's got some weakness here. Do internals confirm it? Is it by the? Yeah, I love that YouTube buy the dip. Okay, yeah. I mean, look, when we have internals confirming and price action confirming, there's only one thing to think, right? I mean, you could think what, of course, many things, but if you look at this from a technical point of view of the information provided, not what we want, right? It says buy the dip because there's bullish price action. So, this here, I don't know what's going on with there. Why is ETH? Well, I don't know why it's disconnected, but a couple of weeks ago, there was, and Dan had mentioned this to me. I don't know if it was over the weekend or last week. There was some very positive news on investments into ETHE and what was going on with that. I suggest Googling it. I'll do it later to find out what it was because I can't remember. But that had, if you look at the chart and just look at the time area, ETHE. It was probably around here where that news came out. I don't remember exactly where, but you can see that's gapping down a relatively significant amount here into the middle of that wide range bar. So maybe there's some news out there about, Bitcoin and such. I haven't checked, but there was some very positive news somewhere in here. You can check that out. All right. Um, Trouble signs. Right? We don't want to be so enamored by what happened that we totally ignore what could be. This is a problem. So, look, we know there was rotation out of technology and some of of course, the winners. And so this ETF, which is, you can see software, that participated on Friday, but it's broken down under this major support level. So that's a little bit of a negative, but it could come roaring back. So we'll be looking for that. The weekly chart looks like, it's going to pull back a little further when it is in an uptrend. Um, so, it's something else we'll keep an eye on. Mid caps participated finally. So there was the broadening of the breadth, so that's another big positive. And, looking at this weekly chart, I mean, remember a few weeks ago, we had this big negative red bar, and it was like, wow. So we're going to get some kind of pullback and correction. And, well, it just corrected a little bit at the bottom. And, you know, here's the news, and looks like it's off to the races again. And so we want to look for these underperformers to continue to outperform like they did on Friday. So mid caps, small caps, um, you had the regional banks. They did well. I can sort those anyway. Yeah, KRE, you know, big up day. So there were lots and lots of positives, very minuscule, the negative, the software. So, maybe one of the things to look at would be the software stocks. See ones that showed maybe some relative strength that could play catch up in any event. These ones with the wide range bars are likely to continue to chop around here today. And the Fed gave everybody a lift. Well, you know, lowering interest rates is like, a new injection of heroin to an addict for the markets. Put liquidity in there, and it's a positive sign, positive thing. So markets go up. And the transports, we had this sell set up here, and it's recovered in big wide range bar. Looks like it's going to go higher. So that's pretty much the takeaway. Looking around, lots of positives, very small negatives. Interest rates, they moved down on Friday. Overall, we still got the big and small trading ranges we've been talking about for months now. So nothing much happening there. The 13-week, that fell like it should based on the news. And that gave us a heads up a few weeks ago, the probability, and everybody was thinking they're going to cut. But he wasn't totally like, hey, it's coming. And his comments were they're open, they're going to do it. Of course, they're going to look at the data, the kind of things that Fed guys say. And so we'll see as economic reports come out and such on. All right. SPX. Now, you might remember on Friday, the SPX, and just looking where this is, right, gapping down in the upper 20% or so. And I was surprised to see the strikes. You might remember or not, but what had happened was we had this narrow range day, and rather than them coming together, they went away from each other. And the idea was, well, hey, there's news coming out. Maybe you just want to stand aside than to take the risk with these things. The probability was the upside could get hit because this was a buy setup, a pullback to support in the rising 20 MA. So now we're going to look at where they are at. And, this got hit. It was, if it was going to be a positive news item, likely this one was going to get hit and this one wasn't. So where are they at today? So at a whole number, right on 6,400. by no means should it go down there today. But if there is some kind of intraday whipsaw down to 6,400, and you can see my chart here, look for your 5 minute chart or whatever time frame you're going to look at. Look for some stabilization and think to be a buyer, because the idea of staying in the upper part of the wide range bar is you can get tails or deep moves into a wide range bar, but buyers need to come in and push it right back up again. That's why I say the open and close need to be in the upper part of the bar. But if it dips down, still think buy with the appropriate price level. So this has come tremendously up from where it was. And that's what it should do. Ideally, if we get a continued dip this morning, you want to be below the whole number. Like I said, that's where the buyers should be. 480. Now look at this. This did not come up that much. So maybe it's a little bit of a negative, but it's also a little bit of a positive in that there wasn't this extreme bullish enthusiasm where now this upper strike was like in the stratosphere, well above 6,500. This communicates that there's still this hesitancy, which is climbing the wall of worry. It's a good thing. Right? So look for the dip downside for a credit spread, put spread, and we'll see what happens. All yours, Dan.
Good morning. Got a ton of beautiful trades to consider. So where do we start? As always, with alarms. And a lot of, I mean, in terms of getting on board, the 15-minute chart's going to be very valuable also with the concept called, end of day rally. So things just went straight up, or if they went up and then went sideways all day, like the broader markets did. And so, however much time we have, I'll go through these. Just notice Baba here. Baba's bullish daily, weekly, monthly. I think I'm just guessing it was up on PDD. PDD was up huge. Wow, what a range. 142, $20 range. Free market. Giving it all up. All right, let's look at alarms here first. Fizzler. That was a bad alarm. Okay, so say that this one's good to go. That's a buy setup, token reversal. If it takes out yesterday's high, it's good to go. LBS and his cousin Win, LBS up alarm went off. That's a closing breakout. I did a video yesterday for social media, and I said it was just a breakout party. And so it's going to be our job to focus on the best ones, right? And so here's one right here. Win. That is a fantastic breakout. And that's what Greg's course does. Like, so why am I so confident that that's a fantastic setup? Well, I don't have 5 minutes or an hour to get into it, but it's a bullish consolidation and an uptrend, downside shakeout, 1, 2, 3, 4, closing breakout, extended, close to support, close to the 20, bullish weekly. So there, I just gave it to you in 30-second summary. But that's what Greg's course does, gives you the confidence to say that's a bullish one, compared to a junky one. So Alex, we always do the A/B test. They're both bullish as can be, but I liked I like this one better for the reasons we just talked about. And there were a ton of bullish patterns to do credit spreads also, but since we're on this monthly expiration last week, so many just didn't have weeklies, unfortunately, or like this one, when the spreads were ridiculous, like 0 by 110. It's like, really? Really? Deck closing breakout from a bottoming pattern. It's not in an uptrend, but it's a closing breakout from a bottoming pattern. And my up alarm went off. Let me reset it. Now it looks like it's now flat. And I'm glad so much we're gapping down today, because then we're not in a rush to continue the bullishness from Friday. We'll see if it holds. Hopefully we'll have a 1, 2, 3 party on Wednesday. No, I'm sorry, on Tuesday. So today, if we get inside bars, then tomorrow we should have 1, 2, 3s galore. Said G alarm closing breakout. All right, so it looks like that one little pop hit my alarm, but look at weekly, monthly. This is fantastic. Multiple time frame alignments. All right, so I just reset the alarm on that. And Ava, bottoming pattern, but I love the retest. I reset my alarm at 15. That looks good. Arrow, that's 2436. All right, that's an old alarm. All right, so that's good to go over yesterday's time. Now let's just look at these couple here. I said buy around current prices, and I just wanted to keep an eye on them a half lot so they weren't gapping down, in which case I would have won it. So KC was going to be a put spread, the 12.5. I'm going to go ahead and just put an order out pre-market here. KC. Hey, Sam, do you know what football team KC is? Because you're from, Canada, so maybe you don't know. Oh, good job. Are they still the Chiefs, or did Woke kill their name? I think Trump's trying to get rid of Woke and the government and football and museums and everything. All right, here TCBI. Closing breakout. See, now this is the recipe we want. From consolidation, close to the 20 with a board. That's what we're looking for to enter an extended market. That looks great for half. This, I don't see any prints, but looks great. That'd be a better 1, 2, 3. This Cuervo at closing breakout, bullish weekly, monthly, looks fantastic. And there's so many bullish trades. Put this one on maybe CFG closing breakout, looks great. That's that earnings trade, DDD, KDP. All right, this was in the news. They're buying a competitor. Wow, that is a nasty gap. Look at it gap into the bottom of the range. All right, yeah, thanks, Greg. Yeah, I had the thing down because I was looking at my charts. All right, Raul. All right, so that's a news trade. Let's see what it does at the open. But that's shareholders saying they do not like that purchase. All right, Raul, Rhythm. Now that's so two things. It has more overlapping bars. Compare this to Win that we went over for 30 seconds. It is a closing breakout. Yes. It is a closing end of day base. Yes. It's a big old move. So I would prefer a 1, 2, 3 on this, or maybe 30-minute high. But yeah, there's breakouts everywhere. Same same answer. It's just wide range breakout party. But this one again trades a little more wildly to me. So I prefer 1, 2, 3 or a 30-minute high at a minimum for a third lot. Octa, why am I looking at you? Well, it doesn't matter. It has earnings tomorrow. There was some news upgrade or something. Really. Trump's making some noise about tariffs on retailers, so some of these getting whacked. Williams Sonoma, RH 225. That's a, when we talk about retracements from pivot to pivot, retracement concepts apply equally to inside big bars. So look at my horizontal line of 225. That's like 90% gap into that bar. That is a shock bearish gap. But a shock bearish gap doesn't mean do anything with it. It's just a fact, Jack. And then I see if I have a tradable setup, and I don't. A whiskey. Now this one has a lot of room to fall because it's been running from $35. So that looks like a short on a bounce and also a call spread idea. All right, when we talked about VFC, breakout bottoming pattern, Bico, breakout, it's TXT. This would be a fantastic 1, 2, 3, but you can still buy it. Friday's high has a nice void, nice consolidation, looks great. TV at $2 stock, a beautiful retest. It's at the top of the range, so I'd prefer a 1, 2, 3. Spot under it's lagging. It's lagging, and it has a kind of a sell setup on the weekly. But if it can get over Thursday's high, I like it for a put spread. Be a great 1, 2, 3 again. SAIA, wherever we talked about OSK, closing breakout. NEM, it's up 3 bars. I was talking about this on Thursday, but end of day base, that could be a day trade over the high if the sectors are bullish. This one, big bar, it was going to be a put spread idea for me, but the spreads are ludicrous. We looked at those. Charter, bottoming pattern. Shut-in, bottoming pattern, but it's still relative weakness. All right, so let's see what's going on. AOS. All right, PBI. Oh, I guess I got Bill on that put spread. KC. All right, so this PBI looks good. That was an alarm that just went off. So I'll just go through these one by one, like always. Ava looks great. Retest. Let's buy 5-minute high stuff. Yesterday's low. Well, let's do half lot, 5-minute high, half lot, 30-minute high. Just gives you more confidence that it's going to hold. I actually sold a put spread on this last week. Ava. always busy on Monday mornings. New trades, open trades, spiders and queues flopping around. So I immediately look up. NVIDIA has earnings this week. It's kind of neutral right now. Huh, I don't see my win alarm went off.
As a measure of what's going on. Talking in the market.
Oh, look at win. Shoot. Shoot. So
What the hell? Hold on here.
shoot. A gap and go I don't like. But go ahead, Greg.
Put an alert on Apple at the bottom of that red bar. You know, it underperformed. So did Microsoft. And if it breaks down under that bar from 2 days ago, Thursday's bar, probably something negative going on. I'm not going to do anything with it, but I just have an alert there to be aware if things start to get a little ugly.
KPI those triggered deck. Looks like it triggered. Tesla. What did I just do? Look, Alex, what the hell did I just fat finger? I wish this thing I could control Z and it would reverse the fat finger. But I just, whatever the hell I did, I just put price here on the left side too. Come on. So, you know what? I'm just gonna I'm gonna X out of this real quick. This new computer is faster, so it shouldn't be long. Here we go. That didn't take long. Beacon alarm. Oh, that was on my secondary watch list. I'll go ahead and reset the alarm now on BP. That could be a good 30-minute time. I like Friday's reversal at the 20 MA. Just eyeballing there about 56.75.
You ordered TNA for a day trade. Below the 5-minute low, stop above that base there.
TNA. Yeah, spot my alarm. My alarm went off for a put spread. But you obviously got to see if me getting filled at the desired credit.
If you look at the overnight data or the futures, they're right near the 5-minute low from around 8:30. So if this is going to go down, like you got a wide range down bar on the 5 minute, same idea with the wide range up bar. It'll stay in the lower half, go sideways here at support, and then drop. It doesn't mean the trade is over on what I explained, but that would be the ideal price action.
All right, let's cancel that. It's too spready. I just looked. Whoa, look at Netflix ripping here. Well, ripping on a 15, the daily still nothing but on a 15-minute chart, because I got all my fangs in a row. So Amazon was a put spread idea, and it would be a directional. So close like that. Google alarm.